There's a truth most people will never understand. Intelligence isn't measured by how much you know. It's measured by your ability to stay unbroken when your heart is racing, your breath is short, and everything is collapsing at once. The ones who can stand calm while their world burns, remain ice cold when provoked, and think crystal clear under pressure, those are the ones with real power. For the Stoics, intelligence is the art of mastering your mind in the middle of pain. This video is not for people looking for soft advice. This is for those who truly want to transform their mind and have the courage to face themselves honestly. Because what you're about to hear will disturb you. It will make you question your habits and expose mental weaknesses you never noticed. But if you apply these lessons, they will take you to a dangerous level of intelligence. When you learn to observe without reacting, calmly master your emotions, and read people's true intentions, you become someone who cannot be easily manipulated. Such people don't just become unpredictable, they appear untouchable. Because no one can penetrate their mind, the world is full of easily influenced people who are slaves to their own emotions. You will no longer be one of them. After this video, your eyes will sharpen. You'll start noticing people's silences more than their words, the fears behind their actions, and their hidden motives. You'll begin to see the invisible order in events. And that is one of the most dangerous powers a human can possess. Before we begin, I want only one thing from you. Write in the comments, "I am training my mind today." This isn't just a sentence. It's a command to your subconscious, your first signature to yourself. If you truly want to start this journey, write those words and seal your intention. If you're ready, let's begin. 1. Mastery. Over emotions, emotions work like an invisible engine behind almost all your decisions. Even when you think you're choosing with logic, most of the time it's your feelings that push you forward. Every word you say, every step you take, every big decision, whether you realize it or not, is born from an emotion. If you don't learn to catch that emotion while it's rising, you'll later find yourself in impulsive reactions you try to justify with logic. Most regrets come from here. Because in that moment, it wasn't your mind speaking, it was your emotions. True emotional mastery doesn't mean suppressing feelings. It means understanding what they're saying before acting on them. People who are aware of their inner world live life like a conscious captain. Even if a storm rages inside, they never lose their course. Because they know the mind thinks fast, but a wounded heart reacts even faster. When someone hurts you, the feeling rises before the thought. That feeling drags you to speak, attack, or walk away. Pausing for just 1 second, taking a breath, and observing the rising emotion from the outside changes the entire game. Anger or sadness doesn't disappear, but its grip on you weakens. This time, you're no longer dragged by the emotion. You become the one observing it. That alone is power. Most people live pushed by what they feel, not by what they understand. The moment you choose awareness, you take back control. You stop reacting with pain and start responding with clarity. Stoicism teaches that the mind is not a burden. When managed correctly, it's your greatest ally. Wisdom is born from watching emotions without being consumed by them. True mastery is keeping inner order even when the outside is chaos. Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius all gave the same advice. No one can hurt you inside unless you allow it. True freedom is being the master of your thoughts instead of a slave to your passions. Every second you pause before reacting strengthens that freedom. When you take a deep breath and say to yourself, "I'm angry right now," or "There's sadness inside me," you step 1 pace back from the emotion. You name it, and something you name becomes much easier to direct. In that moment, anger may remind you of an old wound, sadness of a loss, fear of the root of insecurity. If you listen, every emotion comes to show you something about yourself. Never make decisions when emotions are turbulent. Emotional waves cloud your perception and make you see enemies that don't exist. Sometimes they drag you into unnecessary wars with people who never meant to hurt you or cause you to lose something priceless. Waiting is crucial. The waters settle, the mind clears, truth becomes visible. A decision made with a calm mind is always more accurate. In an argument, Listen not only to the words, but to the emotion behind the words. Maybe they're not attacking you. Maybe they just want to be heard. Maybe they didn't mean to hurt you. They're defending their own pain. When you learn to see beneath the surface, you'll realize most conflicts end before they even begin, because the real need is not to win arguments, but to protect inner peace. Silently tell yourself, I choose my response, not my reaction. This single perspective can change your life, because when you choose your response, you shape your destiny. You become someone guided by awareness, not driven by outbursts. The result? A clearer mind, more mature decisions, and a calmer heart. This doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you now know when to act and when to wait. When you achieve this, no emotion can enslave you, because you have learned to master yourself. In understanding human nature, every human acts in the direction they believe is right from their own perspective. This is not cynicism, it's the foundation of understanding human behavior. No one acts completely selflessly. Sometimes the reward is approval, love, security, attention, or admiration. Even the noblest looking actions have a personal motive behind them. This doesn't make people evil. It just reminds us that we are human. Every word, every action, every gesture is an external expression of an internal need. Once you grasp this truth, you stop taking things personally. Someone's behavior no longer feels like an attack. It appears as the result of their own inner world. Most people don't act to harm you. They act to protect their own version of good. Seeing people's motivations doesn't make you cold. It increases your awareness. The real danger is expecting too much and demanding absolute purity from others. What you don't see hurts you. What you see empowers you. When you look with clear eyes, you realize the world is not full of people trying to betray you, but full of people protecting their own needs. Sometimes selfish-looking behavior comes not from malice, but from fear, lack, or suppressed anxiety. Understanding this doesn't mean justifying everything. It just allows you to protect yourself without turning to stone. Stoicism says human nature is complex but understandable. Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded us that a person will act according to what they think is right. That's why the wise expect no one to be perfect. When you encounter surprising behavior, ask yourself one simple question. What is this person trying to achieve by doing this? Maybe they want to feel valuable. Maybe they're afraid of losing control. Maybe they're just trying to stay away from pain. Don't judge immediately, observe, because behavioral patterns are far more truthful than spoken words. People can make any promise they want, but their true intentions are revealed over time by their actions. This perspective doesn't mean living in distrust. It means living consciously. Thinking everyone is out to exploit you is wrong. But recognizing that everyone has a motive brings you closer to reality. Healthy relationships are built when both sides win. When there's no reciprocity, respect, and clarity, expectation fatigue begins. Emotional maturity includes understanding the other person without forgetting your own needs. When you know what motivates the other side, your communication strengthens, agreements become fairer, and you avoid unnecessary conflicts. Not every situation is manipulation. Most of the time, it's just a lack of awareness. But when you increase your own awareness, you approach relationships from a stronger place. Appreciate genuine help offered to you. But don't sanctify it. Not every good deed comes from pure self-sacrifice. Some people do good because it brings them inner peace. That's also a form of personal reward, just a positive one. Being able to make this distinction gives you tremendous inner peace. Your expectations lighten, and you stop placing people on pedestals they don't belong on. When you accept that everyone acts in their own interest, betrayal no longer shocks you as much, and indifference no longer hurts the same. You now see the whole picture. Instead of asking, "Why did they do this to me?" you ask, "What were they hoping to gain?" That one question alone shifts your focus from hurt to understanding. Clarity is born. You protect yourself better, make more conscious choices, and build healthier relationships. You don't scatter your trust randomly, but you don't close your heart either. You act from wisdom, not naivety. You see reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. This balance opens the door to true inner peace. Today's success reveals true faces. When you start rising, you'll notice the air around you changes. At first, everyone supports you, but once results become visible, some smiles disappear. This isn't your fault. Your progress reminds others of the promises they didn't keep and the courage they postponed. Your discipline holds up a mirror they've been running from. That's why many people, instead of celebrating your success, turn to belittling, criticizing, or mocking it. Not everyone has the maturity to see someone else's rise as inspiration. Some only feel it as a shadow over their own stagnation. You cannot step back just because others feel uneasy. Dimming your light so others don't feel uncomfortable is betrayal of your own effort. Someone who truly loves you never wants you to shrink. If your light bothers someone, the problem is not your brightness. It's their inability to ignite their own fire. So keep walking without waiting for permission. Stoicism teaches to chase integrity, not applause. Others' approval carries no weight if it doesn't align with your values. The reactions of your environment are not your compass. Your principles are. Every rise has a price, and that price is often the discomfort of those around you. When you start changing your life, some people drift away because they can no longer control you. Others fall silent because they can't imagine you gone. See these not as losses, but as natural signs of transformation. Jealousy sometimes appears as mockery, sometimes as silence, sometimes as absence. Recognizing all of this without getting hurt is maturity. True victory is not everyone applauding you. It's being able to honor the growth you see in the mirror. Growth both challenges and liberates. It forces you, changes you, asks you to leave some things behind, but in the end, it leads to freedom. Not everyone needs to understand your journey. Your job is to walk with purpose, not guilt. Those who rejoice in your success stay by your side. Those who are disturbed remain in their own inner conflict. As you walk and shine, their closing their eyes doesn't dim your light. Light born from effort never goes out. It only grows stronger. 4. The enduring power of respect, love, is a noble emotion, but fragile. It can change with time, wear out in routine, or fade after a disappointment. Respect, however, when built on solid boundaries and consistent behavior, lasts a lifetime. This is not about appearing tough or keeping distance. It's about realizing that every relationship, family, friendship, or professional, needs a solid balance. People who aim to be loved by everyone eventually start compromising their own values just to please others. Those who aim to earn respect keep their center even when not understood. Love can make you popular, but respect makes you solid. In an environment where approval is currency, those who can maintain their stance fairly have real authority. People can withdraw their love, but the imprint of respect you leave in them is hard to erase. Love is emotional. It rises and falls with momentary feelings. Respect is the result of determination and inner discipline. A leader who only wants to be loved eventually loses power. A parent who only wants to be friends loses authority. A person who constantly steps back to avoid upsetting others becomes invisible. You don't need to shout or dominate. Just set clear boundaries that are non-negotiable. Respect is born from consistent behavior, not sympathy. Stoicism teaches that the root of respect is virtue and self-control. Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius emphasize that the wise person aims to be virtuous, not loved, because someone who can master themselves naturally creates authority. Real leadership comes from setting an example, not from pleasing others. Earning respect doesn't mean inspiring fear. It means people realize your words carry weight and your actions match your words. When you say no on something and stand by it, you teach others the value you place on yourself. When your warnings don't turn into empty threats, you show that your authority comes from integrity of behavior, not emotional fluctuations. Many conflicts in relationships arise from unclear boundaries. You say, enough, then give in again. You say, this bothers me, yet continue to tolerate it. In the end, you damage the respect others, and yourself, have for you. Trying to please everyone exhausts the personality, while excessive tolerance weakens consistency. Be kind, but not without measure. You can have a big heart and a strong mind at the same time. Don't confuse empathy with self-sacrifice. Justice doesn't always have to sound sweet, but it always brings peace. Follow through on your warnings, not just your words. No need to appear harsh. Consistency is enough. If you set a boundary, be the first to respect it. If you set a rule, set the example. Authority quickly dissolves where words are not backed by actions. People prefer to stand beside someone whose principles don't change every day. When you earn respect more than love, you gain a rare inner peace. Love without respect easily turns into manipulation. But when respect exists, the relationship preserves order and trust. Live to be fair, not to be liked. Fear inconsistency more than fear being harsh. People may not admire you, but they'll know games can't be played with you. That is a lasting value far beyond short-lived compliments. 5. The strategic power of silence. Talking too much causes power to slip away unnoticed. When you reveal your plans to everyone, you make your focus, worries, and goals visible. People watching for an opportunity can use that information to surpass, block, or imitate you. Silence, on the other hand, creates a natural fog that protects you. No one can easily attack a plan they don't understand. Silence comes not from fear, but from intuition and strategy. The world doesn't applaud every new idea. It often envies, criticizes, or interferes. That's why ideas grow best far from outside commentary. You don't have to explain your plans, show the results, because results create an impact that words can never reach. Stoicism teaches that the wise person masters both their words and their silence. Every unnecessary word weakens focus and intention. When you stay silent, details become visible. People reveal their true selves when they think they're not being analyzed. It's no coincidence that the person who speaks the least in a conversation gathers the most information. You don't need to talk to prove power. Your calm presence already shows authority. Silence lets you measure others' intentions, understand their reactions, and read their character. When you speak less, the weight of your words increases. Every sentence becomes a strategic move made at the right moment. Energy not wasted on explanations turns into focus. Focus produces results. Move forward without announcing your progress. Surprise is a form of power. Upset the balance, set the rhythm yourself. No one can sabotage a plan they don't know exists. Privacy is an invisible shield that protects you from judgment, jealousy, and premature interference. Being unpredictable is not keeping distance, it's acting intelligently. In the end, silence is powerful not because it isolates you, but because it sharpens your focus. While others talk at length about what they'll do, you do it. While they seek approval, you advance. In a world dominated by noise, the master of silence says the last word without uttering a single one. 6. The protective power of ambiguity. When used wisely, confusion becomes one of the strongest forms of defense. Not every conflict is resolved by direct confrontation. Sometimes the most effective way to win is to neutralize the other side without them noticing. Someone who cannot fully understand your intention struggles to make a move, because humans naturally feel uneasy in front of the unpredictable. If they can't predict your next move, they also don't know how to approach you. This ambiguity drains their energy, fills their mind with doubt, and leaves them open to mistakes. While you move forward clearly, they waste time trying to figure out what you're doing. You don't need to explain your plan. Confusion already builds an invisible defensive wall. Stoicism sees mental balance as the opposite of impulsiveness. According to the philosophers, staying calm in chaos confuses and weakens those who act hastily. Your opponent's confusion is actually the external reflection of your inner balance. Use others' insecurity as a signal. If people look at you with suspicion, try to understand why. Sometimes that tension reveals blind spots you didn't notice or vulnerabilities you're projecting. Treat every critical glance as an opportunity for growth. If you can read people's fears and reactions, you'll know better when to advance and when to wait. The result is clear. You become unpredictable. While others wait for you to react, you analyze. While they explain their plans, you maintain ambiguity. This ambiguity is not destructive. On the contrary, it protects you. It has a deterrent effect and prevents you from wasting energy on unnecessary fights. When you learn to be hard to read, you become free. Because real power lies not in controlling others, but in not being controlled by them. At this level, your mind becomes your strongest armor, unshakable, deep, and balanced. The power of ambiguity is not only about confusing others, it also solidifies your own emotional stability. When you realize you don't have to explain everything, you free yourself from the pressure of seeking approval. When the obligation to inform people disappears, your room to maneuver expands. Every move you make exhausts those who try to interpret you according to themselves. You focus on progress. They wear themselves out trying to understand. This difference is the quietest yet most effective form of strategic advantage. Properly managed confusion is not deception, it is protection. Hiding your intention doesn't mean creating a fake image. It means preserving your energy instead of spending it on unnecessary explanations. Managing the process without giving yourself away is the sign of a mature mind. When events escalate and debates swirl around you, if you preserve your composure, that calm creates an invisible authority around you. The question marks in people's minds make them feel your power, without you needing an open threat. Dues, the hidden armor of humility. When pursuing big goals, maintaining a modest outward appearance is a far stronger strategy than most realize. In a world where everyone fights to be seen and noticed, real power comes from quiet progress. Arrogance and self-promotion attract attention, but they also invite competition, jealousy, and unnecessary obstacles. Humility softens all that tension, quietly opens doors, and allows you to reach your goal without raising resistance. Choosing to appear smaller is not giving up your ambitions. It's moving intelligently. When you don't provoke envy in others, doors, experiences, and opportunities open. Even from friends and rivals alike, your unnoticed rise becomes their complacency. Simplicity may look like withdrawal from the outside, but it is actually your strongest armor. It protects you both from unnecessary ego and from the constant pressure of seeking validation. As visibility decreases, your power becomes more concentrated. Stoicism teaches that true strength is not proven by outward show. The philosophers said the wise person avoids exaggeration. Their goal is not to impress others, but to be effective. They saw humility not as weakness, but as an inner discipline that protects character. They viewed simplicity as the order of the soul because they saw how pride blinds people. Prefer asking questions over imposing answers. A humble person learns even from those who know less. Listening gives you an almost unfair advantage, because you quietly observe what perspective the other person has, what prejudices they operate from, and what blind spots they have. The arrogant one speaks, the humble one understands. Without speaking, you see the fine details they're unaware of. Thus, every conversation becomes growth, not competition. Accept praise calmly. Neither reject it nor feed on it. Receiving appreciation is beautiful, of course, but when taken too far, it scatters focus, inflates ego, and shifts attention from inside to outside. Smile, say thank you, and keep walking. Your goal is to build something, not to leave an impression. Lasting respect is earned not with beautiful words, but with determination in your actions. Keep your plans to yourself. You use the calm power that humility provides and surprise with results. Moving with a low profile is neither indifference nor laziness. On the contrary, it means you have learned to control the need for display. Thus, you both command respect and remain underestimated, avoiding unnecessary competition. This dual state removes almost every tension that could block your path. Humility is not only a virtue, it is also a strategy. It preserves your energy, sharpens your focus, and keeps your vision safe from outside interference. While others struggle to gather attention, you quietly accumulate power. The most effective rise is usually the one least talked about, least noticed, but most solid. 8. The managed nature of trust. Blind trust leaves a person defenseless. Trust is not a byproduct of love. When managed correctly, it is a powerful tool. Giving unlimited trust to someone before you're sure they deserve it means opening the doors of your mind and heart without control. Many people get hurt because they confuse kindness with naivety. They give too much too soon without boundaries. True wisdom lies in building trust slowly. It requires observing how a person behaves when no one is watching, how they value truth, and how they protect what you share with them. The issue is not living in suspicion. It's knowing exactly how much to trust whom. Every piece of trust you give away without fully understanding someone can give that person power over you. In the wrong hands, that power can turn into manipulation or misuse of the information they've learned. That's why trust is not given, it is earned. And when consciously managed, it creates balance in relationships. Being cautious doesn't create coldness. It is the sign of a mature mind. Naivety brings vulnerability, while careful observation allows you to understand human behavior without suffering. Thus, you learn without pain and develop effortless awareness. Stoicism sees prudence as one of the cornerstones of inner strength. The philosophers said a wise person never offers full surrender to anyone without first knowing their own inner structure. Because someone who cannot control their mind may have to bear the weight of trust placed in the wrong person. Virtue is not watching everyone with suspicion, but clearly deciding whom to open your door to and how wide to open it. Give trust in small steps. Don't offer it all at once. When you share a secret, a feeling, or a small vulnerability, carefully watch how the other person responds. If they treat it with care, you can take one more step. If they use or distort it, you've already received the answer you needed. This is not a way to punish. It's simply an evaluation that reveals character. Properly managed trust reveals people's true faces without any confrontation. Always keep a part of yourself protected. This is not out of fear, but because you need an inner space that no one else can touch. Everyone needs a private area for thinking, free from outside influences. When you have such a core, no one can completely destroy you, because you keep a resilience inside that doesn't depend on anyone else. When someone disappoints you, you don't have to punish them, but you must not forget what happened. Deliberately forgetting prepares the ground for the same pain to repeat. Forgive, but keep what you learned in mind. Use the experience as a guide, not the resentment. Every wound becomes a quiet lesson teaching you how to protect your energy next time. Build the strongest trust relationship first with yourself. When you start trusting your own judgment, intuition, and decision-making power, you no longer need others' approval. Thus you become free and build an independent inner strength. True self-confidence is knowing that even if others disappoint you, you will remain loyal to yourself. The result is not coldness, but clarity. Fewer disappointments, fewer betrayals, and far less chaotic relationships. You become cautious without paranoia, strong without losing your softness. And when the right people come into your life, you recognize them immediately. Because they don't ask you to lower your guard, they respect your boundaries. In those boundaries, they see the trace of your wisdom. 9. The value created by scarcity. What is abundant is overlooked. What is rare creates desire. The human mind works this way, yet very few people realize it. When you give everything freely, when you make yourself constantly available, your value doesn't decrease, but your perceived impact does. Because abundance creates habit, and habit weakens appreciation. The more often something is repeated, the less effective it becomes. In life, what matters is not only what you offer, but how you manage it. If you're always available, respond instantly to every call, never withdraw. People start assuming your energy is unlimited. Something that seems unlimited ceases to be noticed. That's why you must learn to withdraw from time to time, offer your presence in measured doses, and turn your contribution into a value that is not randomly distributed. Controlled absence doesn't weaken relationships. It makes your value visible. Stoicism teaches that self-control covers not only emotions, but also your most precious resources: time and attention. Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius repeatedly emphasized that the person who scatters their attention falls captive to others' desires. According to them, the wise person carefully calibrates their presence. They do not exhaust themselves unnecessarily to preserve the impact of their words and stance. Don't respond immediately to every request. Not every message, every demand, every call has the same value. Reacting quickly reduces your control. Waiting before responding strengthens your authority. This is not coldness, it's showing that you value your time. Being less accessible is not being distant. It is protecting yourself with discipline. Giving without limit is not kindness. It is poor process management. Guard your time and energy like treasure. Because they really are. Every day you have a limited amount of focus, attention, and inner peace. If you spend them carelessly, you burn out. A burned-out person can neither help themselves nor those they love. Protecting your time is not selfishness. It is a reflection of the respect you have for yourself. People who truly wish you well accept your boundaries. Those who don't understand were only taking advantage of your accessibility anyway. Appear only when you have meaningful contribution. Move not to be constantly visible, but to leave a strong impact when needed. Relevance is maintained not by frequency, but by content. Every step you take should make you the representative of effective presence, not unnecessary crowd. When you learn to manage your presence, your value rises. People seek you more. They listen to your words more. They attach more importance to your time. Your presence stops being an ordinary routine and becomes an expected and felt impact. Controlled absence doesn't push you away, it makes you wise. Remember, the ordinary is overlooked. The rare gains value. 10. The intelligence of forgiveness. When used correctly, forgiveness is far more effective than revenge. Most people see forgiveness only as an act of kindness, but in reality it is a conscious way to keep emotional and mental control of a situation. Revenge chains you to the past. Measured forgiveness frees you and neutralizes the other person when they least expect it. You don't need to attack to gain the upper hand. Just don't give them the reaction they expect. When someone tries to belittle you and instead of rising in anger you preserve your calm, you destroy the scenario they built. They were prepared for war. What they found was unshakable serenity. That serenity is not passivity, it is the clearest sign of inner strength. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. Sometimes forgiveness is releasing the desire for payback, dropping the burden, moving forward, and allowing the other person to face the weight of their own actions. Revenge may give short satisfaction, but it lowers you to the same emotional level as the person who hurt you. Conscious forgiveness elevates you, because you no longer need to fight in the mud to prove yourself. Stoicism teaches that mastering emotions is the highest form of power. The Stoic philosophers reminded us that the wise person aims not to punish, but to understand, restore order, and transcend. For them, forgiveness is not forgetting or indifference. It is deciding that someone else's actions are not worth disturbing your inner peace. Such forgiveness is not moral softening. It is mental armor that protects you from the trap of anger. Use forgiveness only when it gives you strategic advantage, to gracefully close a chapter, to transform a relationship in a controlled way, or to show you are above the conflict. Sometimes the distance created by forgiveness can be more shattering than retaliation. When the other person realizes they no longer have power over you, they lose their own power. That indifference is a quiet but clear superiority. After forgiving, maintain your distance. Letting go doesn't mean you have to trust again. You can leave the resentment behind and still protect your boundaries. Forgiveness is not reopening the door. Sometimes keeping the door closed is what best protects your character and reputation. Don't give betrayal a second chance to repeat. Forgiving once is maturity. Offering the same opportunity again is lack of foresight. If a person broke your trust, you don't owe them the same access. You can remain kind and keep your sincerity. But access and closeness are entirely different matters. Keep the memory, not the grudge. Grudge consumes you. Memory protects you. Erasing what happened invites the cycle to restart. Learn, remember, and move on. Forgiveness in its most mature form is not a gift you give to the other person. It is a gift you give yourself. You drop the burden of anger from your back without losing control. 11. The supreme power of composure. In the middle of chaos, the person who doesn't react is the one who holds control. This is one of the most powerful truths that exist, yet the hardest to apply. When everything falls apart, voices rise, or someone tries to provoke you, the natural impulse is to defend, shout back, or prove yourself. But every emotional reaction is a piece of your own power you give away. The person who shouts reveals that control is slipping from their hands. The agitated person shows they are being manipulated. Composure does the exact opposite. It surprises the other side, throws them off course, and renders them ineffective. Because no provocateur knows how to proceed against someone who doesn't get caught in the storm. Staying calm in conflict is not weakness. It is the highest level of inner discipline. Intense emotions weaken clear thinking. Anger clouds logic. Fear paralyzes. Pride blinds. Composure allows you to see details others miss. During an argument, when you keep your cool, you start reading the other person's intention, understanding why they said what they said, and most importantly, you avoid emotional traps. Many conflicts are emotional games set up to drain your energy. If you don't react, their hands are left empty. Stoicism teaches that real power lies not in controlling the outside world, but in establishing dominion over your own mind. According to the philosophers, the person who masters their emotions preserves their freedom, no matter how turbulent the environment. In their view, composure is not passivity. It is a high act performed against impulses, the brightest expression of inner strength. Before responding to any provocation, pause for a moment. That short pause can make the difference between war and peace. That pause separates you from impulse, creates space to think, and returns control to you. Most people act without thinking. The wise person observes first, then decides. Even while others shout, speak slowly and calmly. The serenity in your voice creates silent authority. A low but firm tone strengthens trust. Make yourself accepted not by raising your voice but by your stance. A sentence delivered with composure leaves a deeper impact than dozens of words shouted in anger. If you fall into anger, you become predictable. If you stay calm, you become an insurmountable wall. Emotionally unstable people are easy to read, easy to provoke, and easy to manipulate. In contrast, the person who preserves composure surprises everyone. Composure earns respect, and that respect turns into influence. Don't try to win arguments, try to win control. In the middle of chaos, composure doesn't just protect you, it elevates you. 12. The silent power of reputation. Your image is the most powerful capital you can own. You may have talent, knowledge, or good intentions, but when your reputation is damaged, everything you've built can crack. The world is guided not only by facts, but by perceptions. The impression others have of you either opens doors wide or slams them shut. A sentence said at the wrong time, a misunderstood action, or a thoughtless step can cast a shadow over years of accumulated reputation in an instant. That's why image is not a matter of vanity. It is the essence of strategy. This does not mean becoming a slave to what others think. It means realizing that your behavior speaks about who you are even when you're silent. Reputation is an invisible armor that speaks for you when you're not there. When your name is mentioned somewhere, your past actions fill that space. A solid reputation defends you without you needing to explain. A weak or poorly managed image makes you an easy target for rumors, doubt, and contempt. That's why the wise person pays attention not only to what they do, but how they do it. Stoicism teaches that a solid reputation is built on virtue and consistency. According to the Stoic philosophers, a person's character is measured not by appearance, but by the continuity of their actions. For them, what protects reputation is not show, but commitment to values and the ability to master oneself. You must remain as cool in the face of praise as you are in the face of criticism, and act from principles, not emotions. Keep the promises you make. Every promise is a kind of moral contract. When you fulfill it, you build trust. Even one compromise plants seeds of doubt. Showing you are reliable creates a far stronger impact than any explanation. Never speak ill of anyone. Every time you do, you reveal more about your own character than about the other person. Those who speak negatively diminish themselves because they project insecurity, envy, or weakness outward. Bad-mouthing others doesn't raise you. It lowers the value of your own reputation. Don't argue with someone trying to slander you. Desperate defenses create an impression of guilt. Standing calmly shows solid stance. Let truth reveal itself over time. Let your actions clean your image instead of you. The wise person finds no meaning in descending to the level of someone trying to drag them into the mud. A reputation protected by consistency becomes a silent power that opens doors, instills trust, and creates authority. It is not just about appearance. It is the reflection of your discipline, your values, and your character. A well-earned reputation cannot be bought or imitated. It is built only through years of effort and the correctness of actions. Thank you for watching.